Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dewi Krimah. In here, I would like to present about my reading report about novel. In here, I have read a novel. The title is 13 Reasons Why. The author is Jay Asher and the genre is young adult. This novel had published by Razor Bill and release date at October 18, 2007. Media type print or hardback, and this novel have 288 pages. There are summary of 13 reasons why. Kwan Jansei is a diligent high school student. Is close to being class valedictorian and almost always chooses to study on weekends instead of going to parties. Class classmate Hannah Baker has recently taken her own life. After Hannah's switch, Claire received a package in the mail with no return address. When he opens it, he also box containing 7 2-seed audio cassettes with the A and B seats numbered in sequential order. We learned that the tapes were recorded by Hannah just prior taking her own leave, and on 13 of the 14 seats she described throwing events leading up to her suicide. 13 Reasons Why follows Clay as he travels around town. With the aid of a map that Hannah created, listening to Hannah's voiceover as it describes the event, one per tape sheet, and the key individuals involved in them all of whom Hannah holds culpable in some way for her decision to take her own life. Clay, who has not close friend his Hannah, is initially puzzled about why he was sent the tape. But as he listened to more and more of her disturbing stories, he belatedly begins to understand that he had an important place in Hannah's world and psyche. Clay listens to the first tape on an old stereo his family's carried. He hears Hannah say that she will explain why she took her own leave, but that anyone listening to the tapes is one of the reasons she did so story. Hannah says that whoever receives the tapes should listen to them and then send them on to the next person listed. She warns that if anyone either tries to avoid listening to the tapes or does not pass them on, a backup set of the tapes will be released. In addition to the tapes, each recipient has received a map with different places marked so that they can travel around town to each location mentioned in Hannah's story. On cassette 1, Sheet A, Hannah tells of dating Justin Foley, who has her first kiss. They date for a month, but when rumors start to circulate, some of them originating with Justin, Hannah gained a reputation for being promiscuous. Hannah addresses this on the tape with the statement, Hannah Baker is not and never was a slut. Realizing, realizing he'll need why to listen to the rest of the tapes as he travels around town, Clay goes to his friend Tony's house to get Walkman. After leaving Tony's, Clay listens to cassette 1, Seed B. On it, Hannah discusses Alex Tandal. Hannah, Alex, and a girl named Jessica Debs became friends and started spending time at Monet, a local coffee shop. After Jessica and Alex had an unpleasant breakup, Alex made a who's hot or who's not list and passed it around school. Trying to make Jessica angry, Alex lists Hannah as best as in the freshman class and lists Jessica as the worst. Shortly afterward, A student came up behind Hannah and second as the was standing in line at the store. With the promiscuity rumors already circulating, Hannah believes that Alex Lee gave the student an excuse for his behavior. Clay sits on the chair outside the store where the incident occurred and plays the next tape. Cassette 2, Seat A. Hannah described her friendship with Jessica Davis after the Who is Hot or Who is Not list started to circulate throughout school. Jessica confronted Hannah, stating that the promiscuity rumors must be true and that Hannah had been involved with Alex. Hannah tried to explain that Alex put their names on his list just to make Jessica jealous, but Jessica became angry and struck Hannah, leaving a small scar above her eyebrow. Clay takes a city bus to Monet and orders a coffee. At Monet, Clay listened to the cassette 2 CD. Hannah talks about yearbook photographer Tyler Down, who secretly took pictures of her from outside her bedroom window. Hannah asked a fellow classmate, Courtney Crimson, to help her catch this peeping Tom in the act. In Hannah's room, she and Courtney talked loudly and provocatively to entice the photographer, and then ran to the window and see someone who Hannah later confirms is Tyler. Hannah has recorded this type while standing outside Tyler's window, and she marked his address on the map so others can invade his privacy, just like he invaded hers. While taking another bus to get to Tyler's house, Clay sees that a fellow student, Key Miller, is also aboard. He had a crush on her in eighth grade, but Clay says that at some point Kay stopped talking to other students. Inside in the bus, Clay sees that Tyler's window has been broken. On cassette 3, Seat A, Hannah talks about Courtney Crimson, who everyone assumes is a good person. Hannah gives example of how Courtney manipulates people and is quite fake. After giving Courtney a ride to a party, she even tried to start new rumors about Hannah. On cassette 3, Seat B, Hannah describes going on a date with Marcus Coley at Rossi's, a local dinner. While sitting in a boat, Marcus put his hand on Hannah's stick. After he refused to remove his hand, Hannah shoved him out of the boat. He loudly called her a fish and left. Clay thinks about how he and Hannah used to work at the local movie theater together. He had feelings for her but could not bring himself to tell her because he was worried what people would think about him given Hannah's reputation. Clay walks to Rose's dinner on cassette. For Seat A, Hannah tells how Judge Dempsey interfered with her life. In Mr. Baker's peer communication class, each student had a paper bag in which other students could leave any most compliments. After realizing that she was no longer receiving compliments, Hannah caved that stealing them. Hannah understood that such actions were childish, but says that this was a time in her life when she needed encouragement. Hannah then left a note in Mr. Baker's paper bag requesting a class discussion topic. On the note, Hannah said that she was contemplating suicide. Hannah was hurt when many students voiced annoy, annoyance over the topic and the anonymous students who suggest it. Until at Rose's Clay listened to cassette for CP, Hannah talks about Ryan Shepherd, the editor of a school publication called The Lost and Found Gazette. She and Ryan made a poetry group and got along. Ryan published one of Hannah's poems in the Lost and Found Gazette without her permission. While he did not put her name on it, some student Grace who wrote it and made fun of her. Hannah felt as though her thoughts and feelings were offered up for ridicule. When Clay leaves the dinner, Tony is waiting and tells Clay to get in his car. Tony explains that he has the second set of tapes and that he's been making sure that everyone on the list listens, listens to them and passes them on. Clay listens to Cassette Pete, Sid A, the tape about him. Hannah talks about the time she and Clay connect at a party, eventually kissing in an unoccupied bedroom, but Hannah exhausted from the stress of her life, freaked out and told Clay to leave, which he did. Tony drives through different neighborhoods while Clay listens to cassette pipe. Sydney. Hannah continues her story of the party from the moment after Clay left. While hiding in a closet, the heart-raised Walker sexually assaulted Jessica Davis, who has passed out on the nearby bed. The tape is actually dedicated to Justin Foley, thought, because he left Jessica in the room and let Bryce in, knowing what Bryce would do. Disgusted by what his heart, Clay leaves Tony's care and starts walking. On cassette 6, Sid A. Hannah tells of leaving a party where the assault occurred with Jenny Court. While driving Hannah home, Jenny ran over a stop sign. Hannah thought that they should tell the police, but Jenny did not want to get in trouble, so she drove off, leaving Hannah to walk home. Later that night, there was an accident at the intersection in which a student from Hannah and Clyde's school was killed. Claire listened to cassette 6 in which Hannah tells a story about giving up on herself. Late at night, Hannah walked past a house where a party was winding down. Bryce Walker asked Hannah to join him with a hot tub. Hannah knew that it was a terrible idea but stripped down to her underwear and caught it anyway. Bryce put his hand in Hannah's underwear. Despite Hannah turning away from him and crying, on the tape she said that she never told him no, and that she was just using him to let go of Liv completely. On cassette 7, did a Clay listened to a conversation that Hannah had recorded between herself and her school guidance counselor, Mr. Porter. She tells Mr. Porter that she is considering suicide and her tries to help her, but the conversation only injures Hannah. When she leaves his office, he doesn't pursue her. The next morning, Clay mails the tapes to Jenny Court, who is next on the list. When he goes to school, he sees Kay Miller, the girl from the bus, who stopped talking to other people. Clay runs after her and talks to her. Okay, that's all for my presentation. I do apologize for my shortcomings. And thank you very much for your attention. And bless I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.